A Search in Vedic India, Chapter 16, Enquiry into World of Forms. After returning from the meeting with Swami, though Albert was carrying out routine worldly activities, he was not disturbed from the bliss of feeling expansive awareness. He noticed that he was able to remain in that state mainly because he was not bothered by thoughts of past and future. That day, he was taking a walk on the river bank in a pleasant atmosphere. A doubt which was earlier bothering him came out in the form of a thought. Though his awareness is expansive, he still could observe different objects in various forms. Is this world appearing with multiple forms in my awareness not real? What is the reality of all these objects with different forms? He remembered what the Swami said. He was conscious of an object only when an idea and form appeared in his awareness, whatever the purpose may be. He thought within himself, though my awareness is expansive without limits, I am still conscious of different forms of objects appearing within me. Any object that is appearing in my eye awareness must be part of the world. On that basis, all the feelings of pleasure and pain, thoughts, body, and other objects outside my body must be part of the world. Since anything that is recognized by eye awareness is an object, the nearest object to my awareness must be a thought. He decided to analyze a thought since any object in the world must come into the framework of his eye awareness as a thought only. Whatever conclusion he arrives at his analysis of thought must be applied to any object in the whole world. He thought it was like bringing a sample under a microscope and the conclusions on the example must apply to the entire matter from which the sample is taken. If thought is real, the objective world with various forms must be real. He embarked upon the task of analyzing thought. When he is pure awareness, awareness not limited to the body, an apparent movement in consciousness is happening that is recognized as a thought. Albert got into analyzing. Let me take an example. A thought appeared in my awareness that I should eat the red apple in the refrigerator between the two apples, one red and other not so red. When this thought appeared, it was evident that pure awareness is disturbed. But what is happening during the thought? Even during the thought, awareness must be present. Otherwise, how could I be aware of thought? He continued, is there any actual change in awareness during thought? Though there is no change in awareness, I am aware of the thought content which is about apples. It came to his mind that the thought arose during his walk on the riverbank, while the apple is in the guest house. He further analyzed, does it make any difference if the thought is about an object physically in front of me? He looked up and saw a neem tree with different branches and leaves on the riverside. As Swami talked about the idea and the form of the book, the idea of the neem tree and the form of the tree formed as a thought in his awareness. He is aware of the neem tree with all its forms of trunk and branches in his awareness. Now he put himself a question. What difference is there between the thought of the neem tree and the thought of the apple? He observed that though he was aware of the thought, no change took place in his awareness in both the thoughts of the apple and the neem tree. The so-called physical presence of objects did not make any difference in the awareness, even when he thought of them. Before and during the thought, no actual change took place in his awareness. It is like a wave in the sea. All along, it is water only, even though there is an apparent form of a wave. Though there was no change in awareness, The appearance of the thought of apple could be the beginning of a chain of actions like taking the apple, cutting it, eating it, etc. Even while doing these actions, no change is taking place in awareness whether the taste of the apple is good or bad, as all the feelings are nothing but thoughts. All along, awareness is just a witness without actually any change. Any change is only an apparent change and not an actual change. Though the content of thought is nothing but awareness, taking the content such as apple as real, one is entangling with the content by running after them, thinking of enjoyment when fulfilled and getting disappointed when not met. Based on the thought of eating the apple, if he goes to the refrigerator and eats the apple, he is happy. And on the other hand, if he does not find an apple there, he feels disappointed as somebody else might have already taken it. Entanglement in the content of the thought may result in feelings of pain and pleasure. Though various objects are seen with different forms, no change is noticed in his awareness. When looking at an object, if attention is paid to his awareness only, there is no form there. But ignoring attention to awareness, if attention is paid to only the object, the form is noticed. There must be something more to be analyzed here, he thought. One conclusion is that without an actual change in awareness, a thought is arising only as an apparent change in awareness. There must be a great secret here about the creation of the world. He should examine more, he thought. At this moment, he looked at a wave of water hitting the bank from the river. For a while, a wave was visible with a form, but the entire wave is nothing but water. Similarly, all the objects are nothing but waves of awareness and forms are not actual. At least a waveform is visible in the water, but no such form is felt in awareness, whatever objects with different forms are seen. Then all the objects with various forms are like the blue sky, as Prem Swarup mentioned. Blueness in the sky is appearance only, but not real. Similarly, the forms of the objects are only an appearance, but not real. If attention is paid to the sky, it is appearing as blue sky. If the attention is shifted to awareness, it is just sky without any color. It was clear to him that he was aware of any object only when it appears as a thought in his awareness. His analysis already confirmed that thought is nothing but awareness and apparent contents of thought are not real. The apple did not enter his awareness physically, yet its presence cannot be denied in the thought. Still not satisfied with the analysis done so far, he wanted to analyze again. What is happening when a thought emerges? Before a thought, there is unchanging awareness, not limited to the body. The thought is an apparent change in awareness. For example, the thought of eating an apple emerged. In the thought, there must be two, the knower of the thought, the subject, and the object in the thought, that is apple. Entire thought being only an apparent change in awareness without any actual change, both the knower and known in the thought are not actual. He was thrilled when he realized that this was exactly what was happening in his dream. While he was lying on the cot, the dream appeared as a thought. In the dream, he, as the dream subject, was witnessing all the dream objects. In the dream, both subject and object are not real. The same thing must be happening in a waking state during thoughts. While awareness is like a film screen, the subject and objects of the thought are shadows on the screen without any separation from the screen. All along, the screen only is present. Same thing is happening when he is watching the world, any thought being a sample of the world. The subject who is watching the world and all worldly objects are nothing but appearances in awareness. So, Albert and the world he sees are nothing but subject and objects in the thought, while the infinite awareness remains an unchanging witness just like in a dream. While returning to the guest house, a thought arose in Albert. He realized that he was not feeling any change in his eye awareness, though he sees many objects with forms. He knew that this was possible because of his keen observation of eye awareness for a considerable time as self attention. If he keeps focusing on eye awareness, no change is noticed there. But if the focus shifts to the object with form, it appears to be real, though he knew that the object was nothing but awareness. Though the objects with forms are appearing to him, he had the understanding that they were only appearance but not real. But to those who had no such understanding, are they real? Reality cannot be different for different people. It must be the same for both, he thought. The reason could be that while he was paying attention to awareness, they were paying attention to the forms, ignoring eye awareness. Could there be a better explanation for this? Thinking thus, he returned to the guest house and went to the bathroom. After the shower, he came out and stood before the mirror to comb his hair. When he looked into the mirror, all the objects in the room appeared in the mirror as if they were real. But they were only reflections and not real. Could it be that an ordinary person is taking the worldly objects as real, while in fact they are only reflections? Then what is a mirror for them? Thinking thus, he looked at the mirror again. While he is looking at the objects in the mirror, he is looking at the mirror's surface. Ignoring the surface, he is looking at the reflections in the mirror. Though he may carry out transactions like combing, makeup, etc., looking at the reflection, he knew all along it was not real. Extending this to worldly transactions, he sees the reflections of the objects in his eye awareness. Eye awareness is the mirror. When he pays attention only to eye awareness like the mirror's surface, it is clear to him that all the objects are not real as they are nothing but reflections in the mirror of eye awareness. That is why no change is felt on eye awareness. Though he may perform worldly transactions, he takes them as reflections only and not real. People who have not understood the truth, ignoring the mirror's surface, that is eye awareness, look at the objects reflected in eye awareness and take them to be real. The conclusion is that for the ignorant, the world objects are real, while for those who recognize the real nature of eye awareness, the worldly objects are only reflections in a mirror. He came out of his room and sat on a bench in the guest house park. He was still thinking about the reality of the objects around him. He remembered what Swamiji said about awareness, that it consists of existence, that is Sat, and awareness, Chit, and both are inseparable. He looked around and saw the bench, trees, etc. He analyzed that all these objects, including his body, are existing. But there is a difference between his awareness and the objects around him. While his awareness not only exists, but also aware of existence, the objects around him like bench and trees only exist. They are not aware of their existence. The bench cannot be aware of Albert as it has no awareness. But Swami said that Sat and Chit cannot be separated. It appears that Sat seems to be separated from Chit as the bench has no awareness. Could it be true? There must be some secret here. He analyzed within himself. He cannot be aware of the bench unless it comes into his awareness as a thought. What is happening when he looks at the tree? His awareness, Chit, joined the Sat in the tree and became Sat Chit, and then he became aware of the tree. The moment his awareness joins any object, he is aware of them as apparently Chit is joining Sat, completing awareness. It is not as if the object is existing independent of awareness before his viewing it. The awareness only, because of its inherent power, is appearing in the form of the object. Reflection in a mirror appears only when an object is brought before it. If it is not before the mirror, there is no reflection at all. Similarly, the object cannot exist without awareness witnessing it. Any object is not independent of witnessing awareness. When the thought of the tree occurs, the two components of thought, that is, awareness and the object, arise simultaneously. He realizes that awareness, not limited to the body, without any change in itself, appears in the thought as subject I awareness and the object in the thought. This could be understood from the dream. In the dream I and the objects appear at a time. They cannot be separated. It is only through the thought that the world is recognized. In the thought, Sat and Chit cannot be separated. He concluded that whatever object he is witnessing in the world, it is only his awareness that appears in those forms. It is like the same water appearing as waves in the sea. A wave, though has a form, is nothing but water. Now it is clear to him that he must be aware of the world with all its variety of forms only through thought. A thought is nothing but an apparent change in awareness only, but not actual change. It is awareness only appearing as thought without any change in itself. He arrived at three equations. 1. World is thought. 2. Thought is awareness. 3. World is awareness. It is only awareness that is appearing as a world without any change in itself. The world is nothing but a shadow of awareness. A shadow appears without any change in the body, and the shadow is not real. He realizes that in his infinite awareness, Albert and the world he sees are nothing but thoughts. He wanted to explain everything to Vimala after dinner.